asteroids, strange space rocks, and invaders. Hello, thank you for being here with me once more. I hope you are very well today. I am Marie. Welcome to my channel. This information can be seen as science fiction, or as the viewer sees best, and I post it for entertainment purposes only. Still, I take my information very seriously, and for whoever has eyes to see. I am writing this on the morning of August 6, 2025. There has been a lot of talk in the media in the last few days about an asteroid which they call 31 Atlas, although it was not the first one of its kind to catch the same kind of attention from the government and cabal-sponsored so-called experts, as another one came before it, which is called Oumuamua. As some pseudo-experts are claiming that 31 Atlas is a hostile alien ship, and everyone is puzzled at how on earth they could know that its intentions are hostile, I saw the need to write a few words on how we see this from up here. It is quite obvious for most of you who know me well, that I wouldn't agree with NASA or with any one of the established space agencies from Earth, as they are all under the same central control coming from the same group within the cabal, and their rivalry is only more theater, as you can see quite clearly if you watch their logos and symbols closely, as you will see that they all have the same basic elements in common. Basically, they nearly all have a curved line which represents the rings of Saturn, among other things. What one space agency says is corroborated by another, with a few discrepancies, to create an illusion that their information has been peer-reviewed and is valid, while they are all working together as a misinformation mass and with the same narrative over and over again, exactly as the established media does as well, and all obeying what the cabal wants to feed and program the people with. For us, NASA and all the other space agencies are just media organizations designed to misinform the people about what is happening in orbit, about cosmology in general, and anything that has to do with outer space. They are mechanisms designed for population and mind control, and to perpetuate the matrix of Earth, as the greatest threat against its integrity comes from above, from other human Lyrians like us who may open the eyes of the general public to the fact that they have been lied upon for eons, and that there is a lot more humanity, a lot more of you among the stars. NASA and the other space agencies have been caught lying to the public countless times and on countless subjects. For example, spacecraft interiors have been simulated with a green screen, and people float in zero gravity with wires. Furthermore, nearly all, if not all, images of faraway planets and deep space have been faked, as they are only elaborate paintings from artists within the NASA payroll, as some have even come up to declare. They are only paintings that are imposed onto the public, who take them for real and marvel at the colors and shapes in them, which do not exist. Most people on Earth don't see why NASA and other space agencies would need to lie. After all, they say they placed in orbit telescopes like the Hubble to see deep into space, and all they would have to do is share those images with the people. This would be logical if the world worked as the people are told, but it does not. The powers that control planet Earth are not interested in informing anyone in the public about what is really happening in space, much on the contrary. They even went through the trouble of developing space agencies with the sole purpose of distracting and misinforming the people. All those lies have been used by the flat globe community to justify their arguments and theories. As the people have been lied to over and over again, it is only logical that they would start to question everything that is coming from such institutions as NASA, including the very shape of Earth. I don't blame them. On the contrary, I applaud them, as they are learning to think on their own and to question matrix authority. Having said that, even though their theories may be appealing, in the end, they do not hold water, and I cannot be a flat glober myself, as all I need to do is look out my window to see that the Earth is an imperfect ball, just like any other planet. If we look at this globe Earth theory versus the flat globe from a relativistic point of view, in the experience of those who are flat globus, it is indeed flat, so I respect their point of view as everything in their world points to that, but from a higher above perspective, and I mean literally, higher above, as in altitude and not from any superiority aspect, it is an imperfect sphere. As the mission of all space agencies is to misinform the people while imposing a socially accepted scientific model, in my opinion, they had to devise a movement to discredit the globe Earth as well, as that true information had already been leaked to the public for centuries. They control both sides of nearly everything, creating with it a false opposition that only makes them look more real. But coming back to asteroids and space rocks, we have come to understand a lot more about why many objects in space, like the Federation starships themselves, cannot be easily observed from Earth, or not at all. And the main reason is quite hard to believe for most people, but not for those who know alien technology well. In a few words, it's because of a mechanism like bluebeam, or bluebeam itself. That system can place an image of anything they may want and make it appear as real, as if it were really there, and the same system can be used to erase real objects as well. Furthermore, there is also the subject of the lunar hologram, which not only covers the moon itself, but space around it as well, although to a lesser degree and efficiency. Even when the system is very efficient, it is not flawless, as many amateur astronomers are slowly coming forward to state that they are observing UFOs and other seemingly artificial objects in space and close to Earth. But it is only some of the amateur astronomers who are coming forward to share what they see. This is probably because few of them have powerful enough equipment, and also a mentality at least somewhat against the establishment. Now, the established astronomers with government-sponsored high-power telescopes are heavily monitored by the cabal, and making things worse, all large telescopes on Earth are the property of the Vatican, and under its direct control through its puppet organizations, including universities. I need not say more. My point with all this is that what people are told and shown about outer space is heavily monitored and controlled, and cannot be taken for fact. Then we must see that in the infamous Cabal cards, the people are shown that one of their next agendas will be dangerous asteroids, followed by a false alien invasion. All those space rocks are in their plans. Now I will state our point of view about all those space rocks. There are so many rocks and asteroids floating in space all the time that it is impossible for them to be looking at one or another specific one, while ignoring all the rest, unless the one they are observing, if they are observing it at all, because I seriously doubt it, serves them to justify their fear-imposing agendas. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of space rocks in this part of the solar system that fit their description, and even we from here cannot know which one they are supposedly looking at, precisely because there are so many. The only thing named Atlas I can see from here is the Taygeta Alcyone-class starship, which is part of my fleet. The same thing happens with Oumuamua, as we cannot distinguish any such one rock among countless others with a similar shape. As I said above, there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of rocks in space which are reasonably close to Earth, and even if there are so many, there is so much space in space that they are far apart, and pose no immediate threat. We, as space dwellers, know where each one of them is exactly, as any ship on Earth knows the position of shallow reefs and rocks in a chart, and we simply stay clear of them. And if one gets too close for comfort, we do have the technological capacity to move it away to a safe distance. No large rock will get close to Earth to be a threat. There are simply too many star races looking over the planet. And what you see in the night sky are only space pebbles, grains of sand, and nuts and bolts of all the space garbage orbiting the planet, as well as occasional debris coming from all the non-human starships nearby. We do not see any 31 Atlas, nor do we see any Oumuamua from here. All we see is more media manipulation of the people, to create constant angst, fear, to make them obey their politicians and handlers. I know that someone may come up to me and say that they do have evidence of those rocks, because of this and because of that, but I would have to go over each piece of evidence to see what it is, where it comes from, how it was done, and why they conclude what they're seeing is indeed what they say, and so on. I don't have time for that. As usual, I do not impose anything on anyone, and I am only sharing my point of view about those space rocks for whoever it may be useful. All this while, the Cabal-sponsored media does not say a word about the 500-plus Orion starships around Earth. As a final interesting note, the most common shape for a starship, the one most used by countless star races, especially those new to space exploration, is a hollowed-out asteroid. They look for a decent one, with a more or less correct shape, and with a metallic composition, and they hollow it out with mining equipment, they reinforce wherever they need to, and they place engines at the rear, a control bridge in front, and habitable spaces in between, and they suddenly have a spaceship, which is also camouflaged and easily confused with a normal space rock, at least for those with no advanced scanning equipment such as ours. I am only sharing that last piece of information, and I am not hinting at anything else. This will be all for today. As always, thank you for watching my video, and for liking, sharing, and subscribing for more. It helps this channel grow a lot. And I hope to see you here next time. With much love and appreciation, your friend, Marie.